Hey, how's it going, everybody? In this video, I'm going to be reviewing The Trouble with Peace by Joe Abercrombie and explaining why I gave it a 5 out of 5. The Trouble with Peace is book number 2 in the Age of Madness trilogy, and Joe Abercrombie's writing is as good as ever. This time around, Orso's now king, Leo has become Lord Governor of England, and other characters that were next in succession have fulfilled the roles of their parents. Every character is dealing with their own struggles. Orso is king, but he feels like he has imposter syndrome. Leo's now Lord Governor of England, but he still feels like he has to prove something of himself. He still has that thirst for battle and glory, but he doesn't consider the consequences of those ambitions. He still has a soldier's mindset at heart instead of like a leader's mindset. Other main characters like Savine, Broad, and Vic are all dealing with the aftermath of the attempted great change, some being loyal to people that helped them out in the first book and others going where the winning side is. Stour Nightfall might also be in a larger position of power himself. This second book in the trilogy is still all about the clever dialogue, and Abercrombie seems to have incorporated more scenery descriptions this time around, more than I remember in the first book, and he excels at that too. Specifically the battle scenes. He has every main character's perspective along with other lesser important characters that are just other soldiers on the battlefield, and has an incredible way of depicting the chaos, confusion, cowardice, heroism, fear, despair, and strength that is present on a battlefield. This book is very heavily engrossed in the theme of treason, civil war, rebellion, and upholding the principles that the Union was founded on. And something that I just love about Abercrombie's writing is his writing style is so easily identifiable. For example, if you were to put, let's say you gave 10 authors, including Abercrombie, a theme or something that they had to write about, and you were to anonymously put all of their writings on a table, I think Joe Abercrombie's would be pretty easy to pick out. It's that identifiable. In the review for A Little Hatred, which is book 1, I remember mentioning that I liked the chapter titles. He still has them this time around, but whether he changed it around this time, I can't quite recall, but it actually was kind of annoying me a little bit because he would say the chapter title in the dialogue or in the text, and it became kind of it became kind of repetitive and predictable. I feel like it didn't have to be that obvious. Like my sister and I, we have a joke and we kind of cringe. Like whenever it's almost like watching a movie and they say the movie title in the dialogue, I don't know, it's just a little cringy. I do love chapter titles in books overall, but this one, it just felt too repetitive. And sometimes he would say the title of the chapter like in the first line of the first page, and it's like, I don't know, just felt a little weird. And I'm starting to like Ricky a little bit more in this book. I didn't really care for her character too much in the first one, or was indifferent about it, but now that she has control of the Long Eye and she's in a position of leadership, let's say, she has this interesting like confidence or cockiness about her that's just really enjoyable to read. I'm still not loving Vic's storyline though. Technically, I think she'd be considered like a main character, but she gets less chapter time than all the other ones. And when it's time to read her chapters, I'm just not that excited to read them. Although her position in the storyline is very important to the overall arcing book story. I still love Savine's chapters. She's probably my favorite to read, but if I go into any more detail, I would give away too much of the plot and too much of the book, so I'll just leave it at that. I loved the entire book, but I didn't quite love the last 10 pages or so as they were wrapping things up. The ending felt a little bit too cliche, almost like I mentioned earlier about movies. It just felt kind of like a cliche movie ending. And, like where like in movies, the hero or characters always seem to get saved at the last minute, kind of felt like that. And the book ends with themes and ideas that I thought were put to rest in the first book and did like a nice job of kind of cleaning things up, but they're brought back again in this book. And though it was a twist, I don't know if it's quite the twist that I love Joe Abercrombie for, right? Like for example, I like George R.R. Martin is great at like killing characters and keeping them dead and he doesn't do things necessarily just for shock value. It's part of the story, where I felt like the way that Abercrombie's writing has gone, I wanted it to end with a certain character dying, let's say, but it didn't end that way, and I just felt like it could have had more of an impact if it had gone that route. It's still a 5 out of 5 for me. So on to book number 3, The Wisdom of Crowds, which I've already started, and I'm liking it so far. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next book review video. See you later. It's still a 5 out of 5 for me. So I'm on to book 3, The Wisdom of Crowds, which I've started already. So thanks so much.